Hey guys, what's up? So today I'm doing a kind of a shorter review on Twitter. The only reason it's shorter is because it's Twitter. It doesn't get much more complicated than it already is. But they have released a new sort of preview beta thing that it's kind of confusing. They're releasing it to user by user, and no, it is not. They aren't releasing it, to the bigger Twitter users first, and then the small guys. I mean, look at me. I only have 150 something followers, and some other, 1,000, 2,000 follower people have not gotten this update yet. And I will, before we start, I will say it does allow you to leave the preview, so you can go back to the old version if you do happen to get it. It lets you choose, and that just emphasizes that it is a preview. But so far, I've seen all features working, so let's just jump in right to the review. So you'll notice already that it's kind of a stretched out new sort of Twitter. It used to be that this part was much smaller, but they really dragged it out, so you have more room to view your followers and who's following you. You can look at favorites and things that you've listed, and you can look at your standard stats, what you've tweeted recently, and the trends worldwide, people you follow. Actually, sorry, who to follow. You're suggested just like you would on Facebook, which I think is actually kind of a nice thing. And you can look up your little tweet dictionary right here if you ever look at that. It's kind of interesting. You tweet like you normally would. Oh, okay. Allow, I guess. I don't know why it has to. Anyway, yeah. So you can still tweet with your location, tweet normally. That hasn't changed, obviously. The actual tweet experience hasn't changed. You can also tweet from this handy little thing over here in the upper right-hand corner. Click it on any page because you have this little nifty toolbar, and you can drag the window around. So let's say I wanted to say something about Carrick's tweet right there. Downstairs. No, I'm not going to tweet that because I don't know. I was just trying to demonstrate. But so you can move that around. I guess that's kind of fancy. And tweet from any page you're on, regardless of whether you have this little what's happening blurb up here. So here's my timeline down here. Now, what's great about this now? One of the better web clients for Twitter was Seismic, and they allowed you to view all sorts of things other than just your regular timeline. And the problem with Twitter was they allowed people to mention you and reply to your tweets and have little conversations, but it was hard to read them simply because you might not be on or looking at your feed when they're there, and then you come back later and people have been tweeting all day, so they get piled up, so you can't find them. So they've added a new feature called mentions right into Twitter, and it doesn't have any of my old mentions at all. But that's okay. I can go find them some other time, or maybe import them or something. But hopefully that'll work eventually. You can look at retweets by others. Let's see here. Who's retweeted stuff recently? Well, it's still in beta, so there we go. Okay. These are all people that have retweeted things. Retweets. What have I retweeted? Cool. And who's retweeted my tweets? Pretty awesome. So now let's go to searches. Of course, I haven't made any searches yet. And you can create lists, and then back to your timeline. Lists. Yeah. So that's basically your Twitter dashboard, I like to call it. That'll be your dashboard from now on. Can't get out of that little list menu. There we go. So now let's move on to profiles. Now if you go up here to your toolbar again, you hit the profile button, you go to your profile. Pretty straightforward. And now it's your profile, but just stretched out a little bit. So you can view your timeline, your personal timeline, you'd call it, who they suggest, who's similar to me. This is kind of new. I just sort of noticed this because this is my second take. I actually thought it was who I should follow, but who's similar to me, who tweets the same sort of way, I guess is what that means. And I'll probably do a little written review of that later. But it shows my stats up here as usual, who I'm following, and who's following me. But it also has those new little widgets from the dashboard. It shows my favorites, who I'm following, a list of it, and my lists, which I don't have any. I can go in and create a list, and yeah, it's pretty simple, nothing too complicated or new, but it is kind of nice. It's a nice change. So let's go and find somebody to look at, if you're looking at somebody else's profile, how does that look? And this is the person I used for the last one. Now if I click on it here, it's going to pop up in a new little sort of window. So this is what you'll see in this sort of quick preview of it. Have a 3-tweet timeline. You'll have, following, unfollow, some quick stuff, retweets, message, options. But let's say I want to go straight to her profile. I can go there, out of that little new window thing, and view the profile just like I would view my own. Has the stats, again has who she's following, and down here has all the stuff that my profile had. So I can also look at people that are similar to her and follow them as well if I like her tweets. So let's go now to messages, and let's say I want to make a new message. I don't normally use the message feature too much. I normally use the reply or mention feature. But let's say I want to send a message to Sam Bruner. And what's up? Let's fix that. And now I can send that. But before I do, I want to show you. Look at this. I can drag it around. It's kind of cool, right? I don't know why you do that. I'm sure somebody will think of a reason they could do that. And I'm sure it's useful. And it's gonna come back on me. But now I can just simply send that message, and bam. But now here's our conversation. They've actually organized conversations into threads. As I said before, I don't really use the message feature, so they may or may not have done that. But I can look down at my messages, and I can look, view the conversation and read it like it's a conversation instead of just a jumble of stuff all over the place like email, which is kind of nice. And now the last thing I want to mention over here is the little account bar, I'll call it. You can leave the preview, sign out, help, and go to settings. And you'll see in a second, settings have not changed at all. Same layout, same kind of stuff, and they changed the same sort of thing too. So yeah, that is the new Twitter, and hopefully they'll have it out to everybody in the next month. If that's really a long time, but I mean, I got it, and I'm a very small Twitter user, so it shouldn't be long for you guys to get it either. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Be sure to check out my site in the link below if you're already on it. Good for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.